Yes.
And I'm on my... Hi,
We're
guys.
on Instagram Live on Facebook and Instagram.
Yes. We're telling your followers that you started a live video. So this is like my first live, I think. By myself. I've done one where I was like a partner with somebody else, but this is kind of it. Yay. Hi, guys.
Hi.
We're here. And we're also on Facebook Live on Victoria's Facebook. I don't know how they can find that. Do you know how they can find that?
Facebook.com/victoria.p.gracie, I think.
Something like that. Either way, you're here.
Just
so if you're on Instagram, you're
here.
You're here. You're with us.
Welcome.
Cool. Glad you guys are here. Hi, guys. Okay, so we're going to be reading comments. Happy International Women's Day, first of all. That was kind of what inspired us to just get together and hang out. We actually hang out every day, all day. So we're always looking for an excuse just to hang out.
Yeah.
But also hang out with you guys and maybe answer questions and just say hello. And we are just, we're looking through here.
I actually wanted to show some gratefulness. We are married to two men who, not to two together. We get that a lot, actually.
Yeah. They were like, our husbands, and then it sounds like we have the same husband. We don't. Our husbands are brothers. But that still kind of makes us sister wives in some weird way. I don't know what that,
but I'm only mentioning them right now on International Women's Day because they endlessly support women empowerment, and it's one of the things that I just hold dear to my heart, to see so many men that we're surrounded by at Grace University and beyond, that really support women in both empowerment, strengthening, equality, emotional stability, all that.
Yeah. And really the empowerment of women is not just a woman's job, right? It's obviously women are a part of it, women helping women, but it's a job for the entire world. So that includes men and includes boys and girls, and we are just celebrating women today. Obviously how far we've come as women in the world, but also recognizing that there's still lots and lots of work to be done, especially when we think about where women are at globally in different parts of the world. There is still a lot of work to be done, and so that's where you and I and all of us come in, right? Cool. So, hi from the UK. Oh, awesome. UK is here. What time is it there in the UK? Let's see, 11, 8 hours ahead, 8, right? 6, 7, something like that.
7:30, baby?
Yeah.
Back to the women. I hear you, Jesse. I had to give a shout out because truly, like, I've felt for so much of my life that women are trying to build each other, and it has been very rare that a man's like, hey, I got you. Let's do this together. And I'm like, I thought I had to do this alone.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah. Hi, Brittany Bellardo.
Hi.
Hi, Marty in Tulsa. Sorry, we're saying hi.
In Kyra. Hello. Awesome. Richland, Washington. I see you. Thanks for joining us, guys. Hey. Haifa, what's up, girl?
Hi, Haifa.
Miss your face. Let's see. How often did you put your husband to sleep and you guys roll? So I can actually answer that. It's only happened twice. No, while rolling, it's actually happened once. And I was sparring with Henner. This was early in our relationship, so I was a fairly new blue belt, I think, at the time.
That's usually what happens with.
Yeah. And he was, we were sparring, and like he would consistently get out of my rear naked chokes. Like it was just like clockwork. I'd like sink it in, and he would rip my arm off and like peel it away, and he would get out. And this time I was like, not happening. So I like drove my head into his head, and was like, it was a snug. And he just felt like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna pull it off like I always do. And next thing you know, he's like snoring and like on the ground, and I'm like, Henner, and I'm like concerned, obviously. And the funny thing is, he wakes up from being choked out, and he acts like nothing happened. He's just like, okay, yeah, let's keep going. Like, I'm like, I just choked you out right now. Like, you went unconscious. Like, why didn't you tap? And so now I have this thing where now I like am worried he's gonna not tap again, and whatever. But that did happen once. Guys, tap, okay? This happens far too often. There's no shame in the tap game, and this is part of it. So that happened once. It also happened once when we were filming a video, which some of you guys have seen, I think.
The one in your bedroom.
Yeah, the one. Yeah, where we showed the bed techniques of like how to defend yourself in the bedroom. And I was listening to the director. So the director, our director Philip, was like, all I heard, I thought he said longer. I'm holding it and he's like longer. And I'm like, okay, I guess I got to go longer. And Henner's like barely tapping. And I'm like, why is he tapping? Like, this is supposed to look realistic.
It was realistic.
What the director says, I listen to, okay? So I'm like listening to him. And then it turns out he passed out. What he was not saying longer. He was saying lower. He wanted my head to be lower so he could get a better angle. Anyways, it was a disaster and whatever. Luckily, he woke up in his own bed and
long story short, jiu-jitsu works.
It works, yeah. And both on my part, I probably should have been more aware of what's happening with my husband at that moment. But sometimes we think they're invincible, and they're not.
I think they're invincible.
Yeah, they're pretty awesome.
He had to remind me he was human the other day too.
Yeah, they are human. Believe it or not, they are. We've proved it. So
hello,
see.
South India.
Yes, BJJ brought my hubby and I closer together. That's so great to hear. I really believe that, when partners, if they have a common interest, and especially jiu-jitsu, because likely what happens with jiu-jitsu, I feel like one person gets super into it. And if you're not on that train, you're like, what's going on? And you can almost like be offended by how interested they are in this. So when you're both are interested in the same thing, it really makes that easier.
It helps to not have somebody super like, this is so cool. And I'm like, it's alright.
Yeah. Right.
It's just helpful. One other thing we finished this morning was Fit Jitsu. Someone was asking.
Yeah.
You can buy Fit Jitsu as a standalone workout on graceuniversity.com, so check it out there. But this morning, we had some power ladies come in, and they were doing their Fit Jitsu for the 4th week in a row now with us.
Yeah, some of them have been doing it. We've been doing it on Friday mornings here at Grace University, and we're literally just watching the videos together. So anyone else wants to join us throughout the world, 10 a.m. Pacific time on Fridays. Maybe next time we'll do that live too, and just do a workout together.
I won't show you me doing it.
We're trying to get back to where we were when we filmed that.
We did it 2 years ago, right?
About 2 years ago. So yeah, before a baby and some other stuff. It's just, we're getting there. But it was good. Oh, and also Fit Jitsu will be available on a standalone DVD fairly soon. That's coming soon. So right now, graceuniversity.com, a standalone program. And if you are a student at a CTC, I don't know if you know this, but you get 25% off anything on GU.com. So if you already train at a certified training center, you get 25% off anything like that. So Fit Jitsu will be 25% off for you.
Hi, Ty. Thanks for those hands.
Yes.
I don't ever know what the emojis
I'm like,
mean.
I know, I always use this one, but I would never do that in real life. Be like, hey. Yeah, touchdown, I think.
But
is that what that is? Yeah.
Oh. I thought it was like framing it, like cute picture. Guys, can someone write a definition for all the emojis?
Can you please confirm, is this touchdown? Or is that what does that mean? Somebody give me some, anyone?
No.
Hi, Mary.
Juliana.
Is here.
To the bang. Hello.
Okay, no one has confirmed yet whether these are touchdown hands.
Am I glad it's Friday? Here's the thing about days, guys. Every day is a good day. And even though I know some people use the normal work week, Monday through Friday, Friday we're done, and then Saturday, Sunday, we teach jiu-jitsu almost every day, and on Sunday when it's family day, we're doing jiu-jitsu in our garage. So technically, every day is an amazing day. Yeah. There is no Friday for us.
I was watching this Gary Vee video, and he was like, Monday mornings, he was using a lot of profanity, so I won't do that here, but he was like, I'm going to make Monday my Saturday. And I was like, I like that.
Yeah.
Like basically, Monday, I'm going to make you Saturday. It's like, why does Monday get all the bad reputation? Now, understandably, if people are not so happy in their jobs or what they're doing, then it makes sense that Monday's like, But I do like Mondays. I feel like it's like a fresh start to all right, get after it.
I
feel like I have great energies on Mondays.
If I woke up that day, I like that.
True
day.
that. Yeah.
For the record, I've been reading this, and someone said this is a double high five. It's not a touchdown.
Okay. Is that?
I don't know.
High 10?
Someone just said that, and the other one said preach.
Okay.
As in I agree or wait. Yeah,
I can see that. Like yes.
All right.
Hands up. Preach. As the only female, your videos help me prepare for the reality. Oh, awesome. So somebody who just took their second jiu-jitsu class in Austria, and there's no CTCs, and she said that our videos helped her prepare for kind of the realities of training with men. So glad to hear that. And that's honestly why we put this information out there, because we know that not all schools, while we're so proud of how many women train at Grace University, is pretty awesome and amazing. We know that many schools out there do not have a huge female population, and so it can be, figuring out how to navigate training with male training partners. Sometimes it goes super smooth, and other times it doesn't. So learning how to navigate that is important, and we've got tons of videos on those, so make sure you look for those if you can, and if you are a female who's training jiu-jitsu somewhere.
And on International Women's Day, I would like to heighten the idea of just communicate what you want and what you are expecting from anything you do.
Yeah.
Not just rolling, but in life.
Yes.
If you just say, this is what I want to do this, and this is my boundary, this is what I'm okay with, and here's what I'm not, boom.
Yes.
And I think if everyone did that in a very kind way, we'd be more at least honest with ourselves and with others, and people could really, I want to say, succeed with us, and we could succeed with them, because we know clearly what people are feeling, vibing, and wanting.
Yeah, that's just such an important thing in life. Just communicating what you want to people in relationships, in your training, in your career. Communication is key. So, awesome. Let's see.
Someone said I can.
Speaking of communication, I want to communicate too.
Oh goodness, we are technically using his office, so I guess you can be in.
Speaking of communication, I want to express myself right now. You want to communicate too? At least peek your head in here.
Say hello.
International Women's Day. And
Hi,
we're with
ladies.
our two favorite
And
women. So speaking of communication, I've been raised in a very fascinating, unique, and amazing family, all for different reasons. And it's International Women's Day, and growing up in this family, it was interesting because it was always, unfortunately, there was always this aura of, in the Gracie family, you want to have sons, or they want to be boys, and boys are this, and guys are that, and this. It was this very macho upbringing, and it was like, and it's just part of the Brazilian culture, part of the men, part of the Brazilian culture, and just got handed down over generations. And if you look back into the Gracie family history, it's unfortunately the reality regarding the roles of men and women in the family. And
this is likely many families just because of the generational aspect as well.
Generational, but also South American, right? Brazil.
And a family of fighters.
Family of fighters. For all these reasons, it was just this kind of weird approach towards, having sons and all that. And all I want to say is that specifically because of the work and contribution of the two women sitting right next to me, I've never wanted to have a daughter so badly in my life. And
I just have to do.
Listen, not just because
6 months old, I'm not ready yet.
Not just because they're so amazing, both of them, in terms of what they're doing, for just as watching them as moms and as watching them as amazing businesswomen and growing in so many different directions, and what they've done for jiu-jitsu specifically, right? Like that's to me like there weren't a lot of female instructors in the Gracie family if you go back in history, and there were a lot of female Gracies being born. They just weren't really, for some reason or another, just weren't really attracted to or brought to the mat with the same enthusiasm that us guys were. And to see two women, taking to jiu-jitsu and taking over, this women-empowered movement and sharing jiu-jitsu with the community that needs it so much, but often doesn't get it. And for that community, female women empowerment, to have leaders like these two, it's been a great thing to witness. I'm glad to kind of be able to sit back and be kind of an observer and a fan of this movement as much as being part of it. But congratulations, you guys, both of you. Thank you for all the work, and I think that the world of women's self-defense could not be in better hands, and the future looks bright. So
thanks for being willing to make a change in a generational tradition that many men weren't either willing to make a change, invite the change, or be a part of that change. So
yeah, well, we're lucky to have you, and Gracie family and Gracie Jiu-Jitsu is better with these two in it. So International Women's Day for life.
Thanks.
Bye. Thanks, Hunter.
Thanks, and thanks for letting us use your office because it has the best lighting. So thank you. That was a nice little cameo. Here I am. I'm back.
I love it when people ask, are you planning for more kids?
I
We don't
know.
even know what we're
Henry
planning
just
tomorrow,
threw that out there,
let
that he
alone
wants a girl,
more children.
and-
Guys.
That was more of a hypothetical, but I have a 6-month-old, and yeah. It's so funny. Right after you have a baby, everyone's like, do you want more? I'm like, why would you ask me that right now?
I'm still healing. Or
Like
even
that
after you get married. It's like, so when are you going to have kids? It's like,
Oh.
I'm still paying for my wedding.
Ladies, give me the 2 hands if you feel me. The touchdown or preach
High five.
or double. Whatever these are. Let me hear you. Amazing. So let's see. What? Any other questions for us or?
For the record, I have 2 girls, so.
Yes.
Between us, she has 2 boys.
Oh, we're set.
We're
2
done.
boys, 2 girls. We get to share and hang and we're so set. Yes. Mary is here. Hi, Mary. Thanks for joining.
Thanks, Craig.
Yes.
Love you too. Jen, you guys have any tips that you have for International Women's Day for women to find their center or their beauty in life? Like we want to hear your tips. We also want to answer questions.
Somebody asked me where my favorite place to travel was. Maybe you could answer the same question. But when I was at WWE, yeah, no. With, I think specifically, I guess I'll talk about my travel to WWE. Mm-hmm. I think there's two ways. One is obviously your favorite place to go and hang out. Not I'd have to say Bora Bora because whatever.
Yeah, it depends what you want to do, I guess.
Yeah, like if I, right now, that's where I'd want to be. But in terms of actually traveling with WWE, my favorite place to perform, and I'm sure you can have different like places that you loved to perform when you were on tour with Rihanna and on tour with Cheyenne. But my two favorite places to perform in WWE or to wrestle in WWE was Mexico City and Japan. Like those were so, because they're actually so different. Those culturally, they're so different in how they appreciate wrestling. So I used to like those were just shows there would give me goosebumps. And I'd have to say Madison Square Garden too because that has like such history.
Let me tell you a story about Madison Square Garden.
I got stories there too. Man.
The night I was on tour with Rihanna, I was dancing for Rihanna for about 2 years, and during one of our tours, we co-headlined. Well, actually, we opened up for Kanye because nobody co-headlines with Kanye, okay? And nobody. And as we were opening up for Kanye, it was the night before our Madison Square Garden show. He decides to completely redo our show. So we had to re-choreograph, change all of our costumes, put on fencing masks, and we literally disappeared as like her scenery. That's it. And it was one of the hardest things I've ever done. The night before one of the biggest shows of our life, which performing at Madison Square Garden is a dream. It's a dream. Yeah. And so to have your entire show change the night before was very hard. But, it was challenging. We did it. Thanks a lot, Kanye. But it was a lot of fun. I wouldn't say that was my favorite city to perform in, though. I love New York. I love New Yorkers. But my favorite city to perform in, one, was the Philippines. Because there was like 100,000 people. And there is no like safety laws or requirements there. They just literally keep going. And you're just like, this is insane. Nobody cares about the safety of the situation. But here we go. And the Filipinos are just passionate, amazing humans. And my other one, I would actually have to agree, Mexico City or anywhere in any kind of Latin country, there is just deep and beautiful. So
yes,
performing.
Yeah. There was a question that came up. Let me see who it was from. Hold on. How do we do this?
You scroll there. I'll answer.
Okay, here's this guy. The Lone Wolf Shepherd said, I purchased Women Empowered and Women Empowered 2.0, and I'm a man, but I'm having a tough time getting the women in my life to step up to the plate. Any thoughts? So, yes.
First thought is the plate is there, and when they're ready, they will step.
Yeah, it's so interesting. So that's part of it, is that sometimes like people actually are just not in a place in their life where they're actually ready for it yet. And we see this all the time with here because sometimes we'll have moms of kids who've trained for years at, the kids have trained for years, and the moms sit and watch. And and of course, like, we've invited them, and we say, hey, we'd love to have you Women Empowered, and they just sit there. And then, like, one day, something clicks, or something happens, or they have a shift of perspective, and they're like, you know what? I'm going to go. And then, of course, they're like, why didn't I do this sooner?
Yeah,
but
every time.
Yeah, but sometimes and, like, there's been people, maybe their husband's been trying to get them in forever, and if you, I feel like, yeah, if you try to push it too hard, if people feel like they're doing it because somebody else is making them, they oftentimes are resistant. But when they feel like, this is something I'm going to do for me.
Yeah.
So maybe you can do some sort of trickery where you make them feel like it's their...
or find a way to... So I look at it kind of like swimming. If you're like, oh, you should learn to swim, and you just throw them in the water, they're either not going to enjoy trying to swim.
That's pretty traumatizing.
Or they're drowning. Yeah.
Please don't teach me how to swim.
Yeah. But there's another way of saying, hey, come into the shallow end with me. Let's play here. Do you feel comfortable? And you work their way a little bit deeper until they go, you know what? No, I'm going to learn to do this. And they have to own it. They have to swim at their own pace. And I think that's kind of my best analogy for them.
Yeah. So one is just their kind of readiness in their life for it. But secondly is how you approach it. And I would say there's a video that Henner just put out fairly recently that's in our Women Empowered DVDs. And it's specifically talking to men who are trying to get women to do Women Empowered with them. And it's a really important video to watch because sometimes, especially if you train jiu-jitsu and you love jiu-jitsu, you naturally want them to love it as much as you do. And you like are so gung-ho about it. And you're like, let's do this. Like, we're going to, you're going to be choking people out in no time. And, you know, your enthusiasm is beautiful and wonderful, but sometimes it can be interpreted as pressure from somebody who knows that this is important to you and they don't want to let you down. So I think that, watch that video.
I'd say that I tried to get my husband to learn dance the first time I met him. I was like, private lessons, here we go. You're going to be great. Let's go on tour. He was not down. And he was like, when he's ready, he'll be like, listen, I'll two-step when it makes sense.
Yeah.
We had another question here from Juliana. How do I go back up? Do you ladies feel any pressure being in this family, representing so much from the Gracie family? I'll let you start that one.
Yeah. You know, I don't actually feel... So the only pressure that I felt, I think, is people assume that as Henner's wife that I'm like getting private lessons from him every day. So
or that by osmosis, just sleeping next to them, we're getting their information.
I'm just So I think naturally there's the main expectation is kind of with my jiu-jitsu and how, you know, where I should be basically in my progress there. But interestingly, even though I spend tons of time here at Gracie University, a lot of the time I'm working on Women Empowered, I'm teaching privates, and I'm actually not able to train as much as I'd like. Not to mention a few kids down the road, you know, traveling with WWE. So even though I've been training for over 10 years, I feel like, you know, people would assume that I'm much further along in my jiu-jitsu game than I feel like I should be, right? Whatever that means. So I think there's that pressure. And then aside from that, I honestly feel like I've come in and I honestly just I tried to take it on as I would it's different when it's a family business, of course, but I think it's really important to like let go of it and just like if there is pressure there, not feeling like if I'm doing this to impress people or to try to like, you know, find my place in this family, I'm going to be doing it for the wrong reasons. So the fact that, you know, just Women Empowered and Jiu-Jitsu is something I'm truly passionate about and believe in makes it so easy for me to find my place and just go with it. So I don't think the pressure is there in terms of representing the family. I think it's mostly just with like specific jiu-jitsu training, I would say.
Yeah, and for me, I did feel initially in coming into this family, I am an empath by nature, and I felt like, whoa, there's a lot of pressure.
A little closer to me here for this one.
Hi. Yeah. I felt a lot of pressure to be... to uphold the Gracie name is how I'll put it. I felt pressure to uphold the Gracie name in a way that, you know, many people look to the Gracies in a certain way. And when I sat with that for a while, I recognized I was actually taking on the family's pressure, each of the children who already exist in that, because they created that, and they felt that, and they grew up in that. But I didn't grow up in that, and I was like, I'm actually relinquished and absolved of all this, because there is no pressure. I married in. No one expects me to be anything other than me. And the more I'm just me, I could actually add a different value that maybe never existed in the family before, rather than taking on what they've already created or perpetuating what already exists. It's like saying, okay, let's just keep making wheels. What? We don't just need wheels. We need, you know, the front hood of the car. We need windows. We need other things to make evolution happen. And I'm happy to be a part of that in my own way. And I think that's hard for anyone who marries into any traditional family. Like, you come in and they're all comedians or they're all whatever. You want to take on that. And I was like, I've got my niche. This is my thing. And I sit with it. But people can be resistant to that because they feel that they have to uphold that. And when you're around people who feel that, sometimes as an empath, you take that on too. And I've, with her help, have learned to say, I don't need to take that on.
No. Yeah.
But that was a great question. Thanks, Juliana.
Yes. We miss you.
Yes.
Come back.
There was
soon.
another question that was down here. I'm scared to get too close to the camera while I do this. It says, no, I missed it. I was talking too long. Oh, how do you overcome your insecurities? Some days I can step on the mats and not care, and other days I feel like I will never be able to step on the mats again. How do you balance your mind through that? Claude Stevens, I think it was.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I've come to realize recently is that insecurities are just thoughts. And there are just as many good thoughts as bad thoughts. Not all, the number isn't always the same, but thoughts are just that. Like little balls of energy that come to the front of your mind. And you can either choose to take them in and believe them or not. And it's like bringing this weird awareness and choice to go, wow, that's an insecurity of mine. But it's actually just a thought. And you can almost prove yourself wrong sometimes with like showing your actual capabilities. Like, oh, I'm really worried that, you know, Eve's going to constantly catch me in this arm lock, instead of saying, hey, Eve, how the heck do I get out of that arm lock? How do I prevent that? And finding ways to kind of, okay, what's my insecurity? How can I combat that? And is it just a thought? Because if it's just a thought, then I can just go, all right, the thoughts will come. Negative, positive, however.
Yeah,
How
and
do you do that?
I think well, one, it's important to acknowledge that that level of insecurity or feeling like you had a bad day is part of every single person's process.
And it means you care.
Yeah, well, yeah, it means you care, number one, and it also means you're like every other single jiu-jitsu practitioner ever existed. Okay, so that's like one, acknowledging that this is part of my process, and without that, you're not going to get better. Without days that you feel like, oh God, that was like what? There are some days you come off the mat and you're like, nailed it today, and like, oh my God, so you feel really good, and other days you're like, wow, how have I been doing jiu-jitsu this long and I still suck? Like those days happen, but. One of the things that actually Henner pointed out to me a long time ago, that was one of my kind of favorite analogies and things that I explain to people is that like when you talk about the path to, maybe scoot over this way.
We just
when you think about the path, the what progress looks like. So progress isn't a straight line from here to there. Right, so progress looks like this. Let's see if you guys can see what I'm doing here. But like, it basically is like you're going up, 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 and then you have a this, and then an up and a down, 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 and then up and then down, 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 and down and up, and it looks like, so it's this constant fluctuation of good days and bad days. But overall, we're getting better. And so recognizing that it's easy to think on a bad day, you're like, wow, I've gotten worse than where I was yesterday, and I should just stop. I should just stop while I'm ahead. I suck. This is horrible. But when you look back to where you started, you go, wait, but somehow I ended up here. So if you think about it, that even on those bad days, that's just a part of this path of getting to greatness. And so recognizing insecurities are just going to happen, and there's going to be some days where, and you have to remember those days that you feel good about your training. You did have them, and you have to kind of think back to them as well. So that'd be my thought on that.
I thought about that yesterday when we were at the Sandhill. I was with we were with 6 NFL players.
Yeah, professional.
And then
Hito,
who's like mastered the hill.
He's like Terminator, yeah.
Yeah, 15 years straight running. And I was like, okay, I'm dying. But I made it up with 6 NFL players and Hito. And we were just like, this is insane. And we're sprinting with them, and we're not winning, but we're also running with some pretty advanced human beings. So you have to almost give yourself the grace to go, okay, where am I? What am I comparing myself to? And am I making progress?
Yeah, and that's another thing, is a lot of times we compare ourselves to others, and I had to let go of that a long time ago. As I mentioned, like with my path, it's just been a slower path. My jiu-jitsu path has been slower because I can't train as consistently as many people can, based on, taking a year off for having kids, or or just the kind of busyness of my schedule. So I go, well, why would I compare myself to somebody who trains 3 times a week for 5 years in a row? That's silly. That doesn't make sense.
Our old selves.
Yeah.
I used to dance 6 hours a day, 6 days a week.
Yeah, even comparing yourself to old self.
I can't even look at my old body compared to now. It's not even fair.
Yes.
It's not. So comparison is a thief of joy.
It is. Someone said we should do a Women Empowered tour and do every city around the world.
That'd be awesome.
So fun.
Any of you want to take on managing that, making that happen?
Exactly. Start coordinating.
Double high fives to you.
Let's do it. But the truth is, everyone says, like, I would love to do this if it was in my city, and that is the goal. That's basically the next level of getting self-defense and women empowered and jiu-jitsu out there to women all over the world. Is we need more instructors. So we need more female instructors of jiu-jitsu and of women empowered.
So email us quick.
Well, yeah, that and the path to that is basically starting with the Women Empowered program, Women Empowered 2.0, which we just released last month, and mastering that. That's the first phase of basically becoming certified, and then we are going to be in the fall launching our Women Empowered ICP, which is the first time we've ever had an instructor certification program, where you don't necessarily have to have a school to teach that. So we know that women oftentimes learn in like to go to YMCAs or fitness centers or high schools, or there's so many communities that could use self-defense and these life-saving skills, that having women being able to teach them to their community, that is how we basically spread this life-saving knowledge. And so it's going to start with you guys. So if you say, God, I wish there was Women Empowered in my city, guess what? It's probably going to be because you are going to become an instructor. So, instead of just thinking of it as like, God, I wish it was here. Well, maybe you're the one. Maybe you're the one who's going to be bringing this to your community there. So start thinking about that.
Someone just asked, based on that exact topic, they said, I know this sounds weird, but what do you feel about men getting certified in the Women Empowered program and teaching?
Yeah, so we currently have tons of men certified through our certified training centers. So right now, the path to certification is you basically become certified and you open a certified training center. And our certified training centers are all over the world, and they're incredible institutions. Go to graceuniversity.com and look under your, search your area, and you'll find out if there's a certified training center near you. But because Women Empowered is such we're so careful with it, right? Because it's such an important program, but we know that self-defense for women can be taught so wrong, and sometimes even with the wrong intentions.
Yeah.
So we're so careful about that certification process. So men can become certified through the certification, the existing certification process. It takes a little bit longer because we obviously want to make sure that you're just passionate about sharing jiu-jitsu and have the kind of the certified training center underneath you. But with this new process, the only way that men will be able to be certified is if they do it with a partnership of a woman. So man and woman can become certified together and teach together.
Correct.
But they have to teach it together. So with this other process, unless you go the traditional ICP route, then you will not be able to become certified and just be a standalone instructor. And even though we do background checks, it's just another way of us making sure that our quality standards stay high, and that no one, unfortunately, sometimes people do abuse power, right? And they realize that, wow, I have all these women that look up to me and that come to me for for safety and for other resources, and unfortunately there are people out there who take advantage of that.
And it doesn't always happen in the beginning. It doesn't mean all these bad guys are signing up. Sometimes
No.
they get into a position and they're like, whoa, this is more that I'm actually capable of taking on, and then it's bringing up maybe insecurities or things that they want to act on that they never would have because they've never been in a position of that nature before.
Right.
So,
and also we just recognize that even Henner and Hedon, they were teaching what used to be called Rape Safe and then Women Empowered for years, and it honestly never really caught on, because we know that it's so important for them to have a female instructor. So we really want to encourage female instructors becoming certified. So at least it's a partnership of a man and women. That's ideal.
Mm-hmm.
But if not, a female instructor speaking the women's language, and they just automatically connect and kind of really resonate with the female instructor there.
Yeah, Mary, I saw that you wrote, Mary Ocasio. You said that it is hard, you said, at your age to be rolling with such younger individuals. And I imagine that is something that goes back to comparing, right? We always compare who we were, how we are, but your journey in jiu-jitsu has been phenomenal, and I've loved watching it.
I
so
know.
thank you for sharing
You are
that
goals, Mary. You are just all around goals. You are this. You are this. Your family, your daughter, what you're instilling in your daughter, what you're showing your daughter of who she can be, and you continuing to train. You're just goals. So that's it.
You are modeling.
And if you have not already watched it, I'm assuming you likely have, but also Henner has done another video on that, which is the video on John, where he talks about John Boyd, right? What's called the Boyd belts?
Called Jiu-Jitsu Over 40.
Oh, Jiu-Jitsu Over 40, and then it's the 5 rules, and he talks about our dear black belt who we lost several years ago, John Boyd, but he, was a black belt, and he was in his late 60s or something, and he just kind of really had some great perspective on training as we get older, and it's just, again, I'm like, why would I compare myself at my age, even my age now, to a 22-year-old? Just like our bodies are doing different things, so it's just a recipe for happiness. But you are goals, Mary, and you're doing great.
So double high fives to you.
Yes. Great.
There were so many questions that just passed.
Oh, okay. Do you want to scroll down?
Yes, maybe.
Awesome. What's better for beginning teenage girls, women empowerment or combatives?
Good question.
Great question. So it really depends on what your objectives are for them and what their objectives are in terms of learning. So in general, just to kind of explain the difference between women empowered and combatives is our co-ed program. It's still for beginners, and it's an awesome program for men, for women, for anyone who wants to learn. But when we talk about the difference in psychology of both, combatives really covers kind of like the big spectrum of what can happen, what can go down in a fight. Man versus man, potentially also man versus woman, but also, like, imagine two guys get in a bar fight. What has to happen? The guy controls them. It's more about, like, dominating the fight and controlling, and and we even learn how to win a fight there. Whereas women empowered, the objective is specifically to survive. It's survival is our objective, and sometimes surviving means getting out of the fight and getting to safety.
Yeah.
So we focus a lot on escapes. right? And sometimes that's the best option, is just escape and get out. But then we also focus on, if there's not an escape option, then you also will have to defeat them, or they will defeat you, and that's where the chokes and arm locks and all that other stuff comes in. So that's why Women Empowered is just having that foundational idea that if I can, and I end up in an altercation, I want to get out of it. Not necessarily I want to stay in the fight and dominate and, submit them, right?
Yeah.
Maybe that's how it goes down, but if you can, why not just get up and get out and get to safety,
It's
right?
dealing with an attacker with a specific agenda.
Yes.
Versus
So
combatives
that's
is-
where I would say teenage girls, I think Women Empowered is perfect for them. Not to mention, we also cover some of like the boundary setting components that I think specifically young girls can really benefit
Yes.
from, is understanding how to use their voice, how to tell somebody when they feel uncomfortable, what to do what to say, how to address somebody who's, basically crossing your boundaries. And I think, gosh, I wish every young woman in the world could learn that. I wish I could have learned that as a young woman. It's such important. They're such important tools. So that would be but I honestly do both, right? I would say train both if you can. But if you have to choose one, maybe start with Women Empowered and then go to combatives. We have tons of women who do that as well, which is a great path. It's like your foundation is, again, women's self-defense, which is survive, and then go to combatives, learn a few more techniques, sharpen up the old ones, and then you're just all around covered.
Someone asked if you could do any martial arts other than crazy jiu-jitsu, what would it be? Cooking?
No, actually, I do try. Like we actually enjoy learning other martial arts. So we were doing Taekwondo for a while with our friend James Muntajri, and at the Kicking District. Shout out to them in Torrance.
Woo, woo.
Yeah, and then I also like boxing. It's fun. It's it's great to, I feel like, learn other things for different reasons. I just always like, when it comes to actual self-defense, at my core is always going to be.
Yeah, but I like Taekwondo.
Yeah.
That built my butt too.
It's fun. It's fitness.
Good side
It's
effects.
like just learning something new. So I appreciate all of them.
Any more energy sandwiches?
It's constantly evolving, right?
I made a breakfast sandwich this morning for my children that you might enjoy. Maybe I'll put a video about it
Energy
later.
sandwich. What's the new energy sandwich? Let's see, tapioca. Now we use this like garlic spread stuff that we get from the farmer's market. Yeah, we use that a lot.
Oh my God.
Oh no! Now the new energy sandwich is this chive cream cheese thing, but it's not cream cheese. It's like cashew cheese from the farmer's market, and we add smoked salmon to it. And then,
we're heavy on smoked salmon. Right
Yeah.
now, we're using an English muffin this morning.
Yes.
It's an English muffin, garlic spread, avocado, egg, smoked salmon.
Delicious. I'm hungry.
My kids ate it like easy. I'm also a really big
Hi,
fan.
Amanda.
Can I shout out Siete Foods right now?
Yes.
Their almond flour tortillas
Yes.
blow my mind.
They are, they're like just killing it. If you like Mexican food, but you're like, I want to eat healthy, but I also like Mexican food. I don't know what to do.
Siete Foods.
Siete Foods. So Siete as in 7, and look it up.
Is that what it's
Great
for?
options.
I just want to be friends with their family because they make such good food.
If you look at it tells their story. There's like
I
7.
know.
Yeah, they're a family of 7, and one of their family members had an autoimmune disease, and so they started modifying all of their foods to address that. So it's like grain-free, gluten-free, dairy-free, soy-free, but still is great. It's Mexican food. Amazing. So good. Check it out. Yes.
What is our nutrition like?
I was like, you want to take that?
We attempt at our best because we recognize we're humans and we enjoy like indulging in what is tasteness. I like to try to make 60 to 80% of my plate some sort of vegetables. Whether that's salads, roasted vegetables, sweet potatoes, those kinds of things. It doesn't always happen that way, but that's my attempt. And the rest is a protein and sometimes overload on starches. Sometimes.
Yeah, I would say my nutrition, it does like vary. I kind of have like a core base that I go to that is like always pretty consistent, but I think at different times in your life things are going to be different, right? Like right now I'm still breastfeeding, and so that brings on its own, like, so hormones are different. How much food I need to eat is different because I'm burning more, I'm burning calories while I'm nursing.
God, I miss breastfeeding.
I know, right? You're like, sorry, I have to eat this. I'm nursing. Sorry. But yeah, I would say obviously like the key, I think, as long as you focus on getting as many fruits and vegetables into your diet, you're doing great, right? Like having that balancing with anything else, the more natural whole foods you can do. So we try to, make most of our meals.
Yeah, we eat a lot at home.
Eat a lot at home. Just by doing that, you're going to eliminate tons of this unnecessary stuff, like the butter, because you're always like, God, these vegetables taste so great at whatever restaurant you're at, and you're like, oh, it's because somehow they added sugar and butter to everything. The more you make at home, obviously, the better off you'll be because you know exactly what you're putting in there. So just focus on fruits and veggies. And then everything else, obviously, people have different thoughts on protein. People's bodies also respond differently to some people feel great when they eat, good, well, I wouldn't say well made, but like good meat, like grass-fed beef, or and then other people don't feel good on that. So
when I said
listening
protein,
to your body,
that could be plant-based protein,
sure,
or animal protein, totally on you.
Yeah.
Someone asked a great question. They said the Women Empowerment Program. Well, I don't remember exactly how it was said, which is fine. But you were asking if we have experience in our own lives in situations that led us to being more passionate about women empowerment. Well, I'm a woman, so I want to be empowered regardless, period. But I would say that the other day when we were on our trip, actually, I, for some reason, opened up my husband's phone and literally articulated every instance in my life in which I felt someone had crossed a boundary with me, someone was inappropriate, someone violated me, and did any of those numbers of things. And I got to, like, the number 12. And
wait, you were writing? I'm sorry, I was confused.
I wrote down every incident that happened to me in my life on a quick note.
Okay, got it.
And I got down to 12 incidents in my life that were major incidents for me to do it. So when I hear people ask, like, well, have you experienced anything? It's inconceivable to my mind that a woman has not felt some sort of violation against women, some sort of violence against women, because from the simplest things of boundary crossing and touching us in a way that feels uncomfortable, I articulate that as some sort of violence against me because it made me feel violated.
Yeah.
And so when you ask, yes, I have my own experiences. I know Eve does if she cares to share. I don't care to share them right now. We can talk about that later. But there were at least 12 incidences in which I felt, wow, I wish I would have had something like jiu-jitsu to even teach me that I have choices, that I don't have to just punch this guy in the face, even though I didn't do that at the time because I didn't have a choice. But
and I think also the question it may also be, after we've learned this, have we used it ever? And one of the things that we are constantly using, and here's the thing, like that's actually how we know this program is successful. It's not necessarily how many women go out and like choke out dudes and beat guys up. It's the fact that now you're so aware of your surroundings and you're so you're like, I would say violence IQ or like safety IQ just goes up because you're understanding all these potential threats, and you've addressed them over and over again. You've kind of ran them through in your head. You have options and plans for all of them, right?
Yeah.
So because of that, you are just like, you're vigilant, but not like hyper vigilant in a way where you feel paranoid. So your vigilance just goes way up. So the one thing that you're always going to be used, like once you learn this, it's hard to unlearn it, and it's hard not to apply it in your everyday life. So a big part of that is just like, how people approach you and how close you let people stand to you. When someone's making you feel uncomfortable, how you address the distance between them, what you say to them. These are all things that are part of the Women Empowered program that we're unfortunately having to use likely on a, some people use it on a daily basis depending on what kind of interactions they have on every day. If they, ride the bus to work or to, or just in public places a lot. So we use them a lot. So not necessarily the techniques. The technique I use the most, I would say, is called the frame escape, which is basically the creepy hug defense, which is basically somebody who wants to hug you and you don't feel like hugging. You just on the neck and just get space and get distance. So luckily, since learning these tools, I have not needed to use any of the physical ones, except for that one time I choked out one of the guys I used to work with. But again, story for another day.
Someone in their neck, yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't have to submit anyone yet. How about that?
Yeah.
We do have a place in New York. I don't know if it's in Long Island.
Go to graceuniversity.com. We have one in Manhattan now that just popped up, but I don't know when they're going to be launching the Women Empowered program. I believe it's fairly soon because we've got a lot of requests for New York.
Try combatives.
Combatives as well. It's a great beginners program, and we have a great instructor there as well. So check out graceuniversity.com. Go to locations. I think that's what it's called, or certified training centers. I don't know. Anyways, go to locations. Type in all the ones will pop up for those.
Hi, Vinny. I see you, girl.
Yes. Cool. So I think we can, maybe like 5 more minutes?
And you guys got 5 more minutes.
5 more minutes, and then we may, or maybe
my
maybe
kids
sooner
are right
than
there.
that. Yeah, we got kids right over here. Got some other work we're going to put out for you. We're going to probably be releasing a video today, a little technique for International Women's Day as well. So, so glad you guys are joining us. Anything else? Is it true you're half Nicaraguan? Yes, I am. I am half Nicaraguan. My dad is from Nicaragua, or his family is from Nicaragua. So I didn't see
Someone
that
just
last
asked
question.
if we can launch in Philadelphia. We can. If you want to learn via online open it in Philadelphia, we will support you.
Do it. Yeah, I wish it was up to us. I wish we could say, like, send out all these instructors and open one here, open one there. But honestly, it's just wherever we get interest, wherever somebody is passionate enough about this to start this program and to go through the instructor certification program. Could be you. You could be next.
Hi, Sabah.
Sabah, hello. I'm like, what time is it there in Australia?
Yeah, oh my God.
Let's see. Why do you not make blogs? I should. Yeah.
Because it takes a lot of time and work and effort, and
Instead
we're
we just do
perfectionists,
this, yeah.
and we want it to look pretty, and so then,
Yeah, but we should do more live.
I'm down for that.
Yeah.
Any
Live is
international
fun.
seminars planned? We'd love to. Someone reach out to us.
Specifically tropical places.
What's your hairstyle for Master Cycle? Buns?
Oh, man. Whoever figures out the best hairstyle for jiu-jitsu will be making a lot of money.
Yeah.
Or like some contraption that you can put on your hair just to like, besides like a shower cap or like a swimming cap. I don't know.
People do that. I've seen that.
Yeah, I got nothing. Literally, I just slick it back, put it in a bun. Sometimes I do braids, but even the braids, then if the braid comes out, you have to like re-braid and like. But braids are probably the best. But who knows how to? She does
a double braid into a ponytail, then I bun it.
But she's like good at braiding, and most
That's
of
so
us
much
are like,
work.
yeah. So I just say high bun. I like the high bun because then when your back of your head touches the ground, it doesn't hit a ponytail that's low. That's like annoying. So I do bun on top.
Yeah.
Up here, and then it's like hard to actually hit. Of course, I have to redo it like in between every single roll, but jiu-jitsu hair don't care. Okay.
Yep. Someone just asked if we like Disney. I am a huge Disney fan. I don't know why you asked that out of anywhere, but I am.
She is all about Disney.
Dad.
She loves that. Awesome.
Cool.
Oh yeah. So there's been a few WWE questions.
A
Am I
jiu-jitsu
returning?
fashion show. I'm so sorry. That's
This
amazing.
gi, by our like new different lines of gis.
Sorry, WWE. I know there's a lot of WWE fans there. Let
Yeah.
her at least address this for a moment. Go.
Yes. So there, people are asking, would I return to WWE
Never say never.
Yeah, I would say never, but if there's a one-time event, unfortunately, the ones that I have been asked to participate in, other circumstances do not allow me to, such as being pregnant.
Birth.
And so, but I would, if everything else kind of works out in kind of my life and the situation I'm in, I would likely come back for a one-time thing here or there. But I still have great connections with my WWE family and WWE in general, and so I'm so grateful for anything I get to do and partner with them. So, yeah. Awesome.
And I loved watching her, so I hope she goes and has fun when she wants to have fun and doesn't when she doesn't.
Yeah.
It's about following your heart.
It is. Okay, maybe one more question.
Okay.
One more.
Give us your best,
Let's see what we got
Deepest.
here.
most wanted to know.
Ooh.
The number one thing people ask me about you is like, what's Eve's skincare regimen?
Guys, highlighter.
I'm all
Okay.
breast milk. I'm just kidding.
Highlighter too. Just never underestimate the the benefits of highlighter.
It's great.
Just gonna throw that out there.
Okay.
Awesome.
All right.
My last match against Celeste Bonin. Yes.
Salud desde Mexico. Hola.
Hola.
Are you going to be in WrestleMania 35? This is going to be our last question then.
Yes.
When are you going to fight in the UFC?
That will be it.
Waiting for Game
Clean
of
never
Thrones.
will be when I fight in the UFC.
Okay, this is a good one.
Okay,
Favorite
let's see.
cheat meal?
Yeah, that's all you, girl. That is a perfect
see.
Victoria question.
Oh,
And I'll
favorite
get the
cheat
other
meal?
one.
Honestly, like cheese enchiladas are my
Yeah, Mexican
favorite. Any Mexican food in general. Actually, it's a tie. Cheese enchiladas with chicken taquitos, maybe together. the red sauce, cheese everywhere. Just
Mexican food. I literally, my entire pregnancy ate Mexican food, like almost everything.
my entire life, I ate Mexican food.
So Henson is a product of just straight up Mexican food all the time. But favorite MMA fighter. Okay, I'll end on this one. Brian Ortega. Duh,
Yeah!
duh.
T-City.
Yeah, T-City. Make sure you guys check out his fights, and also the Brian Ortega Foundation, because obviously he's a good fighter, whatever. But he is a great person, and he started a foundation to help youth and to build them up, and so that's on Instagram as well. So I think it's at Brian Ortega Foundation or Ortega Foundation. Look it up. And follow
Do you know
them
what it is?
and something.
No.
Well, you will find it. Look
You'll
up
find
Ortega Foundation. So shout out to T-City, and yeah, I think that's a wrap. Thank you guys for joining us.
Thanks for joining
We'll
us.
do another Instagram Live sometime soon. Happy International Women's Day. Just so much love to all of our sisters out there. Thanks for joining us, men and women, but sharing love, all our sisters out there.
Yep. Have an amazing International Women's Day. Fist bumps and high fives to everyone.
And double high fives. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Okay, wait, how do I do this? And there we go. And like.